Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to another deck profile from the Benelux Extravaganza tournament. Today we have here Kevin Brandt with us. Yo, welcome here. Tell us how you did. Tell us what deck you're playing. Introduce yourself, man.
What's crackalackin'? I am Kevin Brandt, the newcomer to the Netherlands scene. Well, also Benelux, I guess. I got third place in the Attack of the Giant card thingy with not your everyday Adamancipator deck, which I'll get into a bit later. I also did play in the main event, but we don't talk about that because my internet was, at least that's what I'm blaming it on, so I kept disconnecting to a bunch of game losses. So I'm just going to pride myself in the third place in the Attack of the Giant card.
Yeah. You did all right in the main event, but yeah, internet connections, it's a thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I DC it against you as well.
Yeah, yeah. It is what it is, right? Anyway, let's get into
Can't do anything about it. Yes, sir. Now, starting with a non-spicy bit, I'm playing 3 Seekers, 3 Researchers, and 3 Analyzers. Wow, right? So yeah, let's just move on because there's nothing to talk about there.
Whoa, that's
now,
good.
to the spicy bit. Yeah, right. I played 2 of the Leonite Crystals, 2 of the Dragon Crystals, and even 1 of the Ratite Crystals. Now, you might be thinking, what the hell is this guy thinking? Is he a huge scrub? Well, if you think that, the answer is yes, but let me also tell you why. The thing is, I am playing a pure control version of this deck for multiple reasons. I realized that without Block Drag and Link Cross and all that, I felt like this deck is very fragile, like a glass cannon. It is very susceptible to hand traps, and you're always in need for extender. And if they manage to Dark Rule or drop out your board, you basically have no comeback potential. So instead, I opted to go for a mid-range approach with this deck, focusing a lot more on the grind game than on the Wombo combo, which you'll see more of the deck later on. Also because the format is a bit more trap-oriented, with Elvish being a huge contender. So playing a bit more control kind of makes up for that. Now, the reason I chose to play all these crystals are actually threefold. Like, these could have been Doki Dokis, for example, but these are like the hugest Ash baits ever. So that's one reason. So I felt like these are a bit more safe because because then you can also special summon Seeker and you always have a level 6 ready. But also the attributes are relevant because, as we see later, I play Adamancipator Friends, which means I'm locked into rocks. So my end boards are actually not impressive at all. But at least the exotic monsters have additional good effects. For example, Leonite is a monster born, so I can like tribute Guardian for his effect and summon him back, which is kind of nice. And also third reason is that this deck basically plays in turn 3 in the sense that instead of making a huge board, you make a mediocre board, and if the opponent smashes it, that's fine. Because the point is that you actually build up cards so that you can explode in round 3, and then you can use their stacking effects to always hit right with the Adamancipators you've accumulated in your hand. That's kind of the thought process of this deck. As I'll explain a bit more. Yes, and then naturally I play 3 Guardians and 2 Suppliers. Nothing too spicy there. And I also do play a little bit of hand traps. I play, oh, please don't hate me for the wrong artworks, but I do play 1 gold droll with 2 normal ones, and then 2 feet ash with 1 normal ash. These are the hand traps I opted for.
Feet ash and gold.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm actually a scrub. No doubt about it. I expect the Dutch players to be good and play Drytrons, but apparently I was wrong. So I did expect a lot more of those, but I didn't see them. So yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, we're all scrubs.
So that's monster count. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I belong here, right?
Exactly. Welcome to the club.
This is self-explanatory. Yeah. Science is pretty nice, but yeah, Friends is actually also part of the reason I picked up this deck. Because this increases the consistency of this deck tenfold. No one really knows what it does, so I'll quickly explain it.
Yeah, do that.
Basically, what it does is that you excavate 5 cards from the top of the deck, plus an extra card for each rock type you control. And then you can add to your hand one rock type monster you excavated, basically, with a lower level than the cards you excavated. So basically, it's a way to dig into your good Adamancipator cards for like a different name, so you can have a bit more like consistency to the deck. Of course, the reason no one actually plays this is because you're locked into rocks for the rest of the turn. But that doesn't really matter with this deck because you don't really combo super much. And you can, if you do want to combo, you can activate at the end of the combo if you already have a good hand. And it's not a hard once per turn, so you can actually just open 3 and then just keep digging.
Oh, really?
I like it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Like I knew kind of what it did, but I didn't know it didn't have a once turn clause. Or wow,
nothing at all. I mean, I guess it's enough that you can only special summon rocks. But as I said, the Adamancipator crystals, they have enough disruptions in themselves actually. Because you got like a Deity Crow, you got an extra monster negate, you got Spell and Trap negate and Dragite. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And because I don't play Prank Kids, I can allow myself to play 3 Desires. Once again, this is a mid-range deck. You really don't focus that much on the combo, but more like on outgrinding opponents, so I don't really need more. Spice it one off to make my opponents think they're stacked against them. I did decide to main deck Harpy's Feather Duster. I don't know if I want to keep doing that. But, I figure like trap decks are quite popular at the moment, and this is a nice way to have it if you lost a die roll.
Yeah.
Even
against something like Virtual World, getting the Chuche or something. Even against something like Virtual World, it's not really a trap deck. If you just take away the Chuche, it already makes it easier.
Yeah, exactly. It's one less interruption to worry about. Of course, it's mounted to have P, but whatever. Yes, and also what makes this deck a little bit different is to actually play traps. That's what I call my mid-range deck. So Solemn Judgment is the most generic trap I could find because I figured, like, at first I thought this should be Strike, but then, like, I felt like Judgment did a pretty good job at also stopping stuff like board wipes. I also played 3 Rather Warlords because this deck is actually pretty nutty. Because if I didn't play this, I would probably lose to every combo deck in existence because this deck has a lot less firepower than the actual real Adamancipator deck. So naturally, having this against stuff like Virtual World and Drytrons and Prank Hits and all that, like it basically cripples most of the meta combo decks. Of course, doesn't do jack shit about against the Elvish, but who cares about that? So this is like, this is really put in a lot of work for me. And also they play an Adamancipator specific trap, Adamancipator Relief, which is really nice because it combos well with Leonite in the sense that you can basically search it with Leonite if you excavate it. And then you can use Leonite to revive a target for this card because what it does is basically an Icarus attack. You attribute any number of Adamancipator monsters and you pop that amount of cards your opponent controls +1. So it's a pretty nice recyclable interruption because you can also recycle it with the Fire Crystal when it's special summon, and then you can synchro into the Lion and then add it straight to your hand. So it's nice. Semi-searchable.
Yeah, that's...
in a sense. But that's more or less the main deck. Now for the extra deck. Now, as I said, mid-range, right? So the start of the deck is actually Leonites. That's why I play 2 copies. So basically, you use this guy to basically, as I said, you build up your hand for the next turn. So basically, you use him to get a science, use him to get a name, you use him to get Adamancipated Friends, which then can get you another name, use him to get a trap, so you can get interruption, like so many uses, right? And also his second effect is really, really, really because you can basically just end with this guy and a Guardian. Like that is basically the first turn combo like with this deck. That's why I said the first board is like really not impressive. But doing this, you do this in 4 summons. You got your Guardian to tribute. Then if you excavated the Fire Crystal, you can revive the Guardian after you use its effect. Or you can, if you have an Ash, which is fire, you can use that to revive Guardian as well. That's kind of the gist of it. And then also if you have the Fire Crystal in the grave, which is actually, I didn't think I mentioned other uses for the crystals, is that the graveyard effects are actually the most important. You return the crystal to the top of the deck along with the respective synchro to the extra deck, and that's like start hit right with Adamancipators. And in that sense, you can keep stacking with the crystals because they also stack when they're special summoned. So yeah, in that sense, you really build up a lot of advantage and can push forward to case in turn 3. Yes, and then I play the other 2 Adamancipator synchros. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. I usually end, not usually, but I often end with this guy in turn 1 because of Adamancipator friends lock him into rocks, but that's fine because it's spell and trap negate. I play Crystal Wing. This deck doesn't link summon a lot, so I decided not to do Savage, and so I figure this guy is all around better because it's pretty easy to make. And then for my fiber target, I play Shooting Riser Dragon.
Oh.
And the reason for because Formula Synchro is for noobs. I'll tell you why. Normally you could just end on a fiber and this guy, right? Not impressive. So let's say you use fiber's effect to summon this guy. This guy uses effect to send Ash to the graveyard. Now, congratulations, you have a fire in your graveyard, so now you can use this guy's effect to Monster Reborn something. And what he does is that when he synchro summon, he foolish borrows a monster, and then his level decreases by the level of the sent monster. So usually he would send Ash, and then he would be level 4 because his level is increased by 3, and his original level 7. You just gotta revive a crystal or a Koa'ki Guardian or whatever, and then you have 2 options. Either you can make a Dragite if you got a Water Engrave and you want to spell a Trap Negate, but more often is that after you're revived, you synchro these 2 into Satellite Warrior. And then you just pop 2 cards of opponents, and then you just smack them next turn.
Nice. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a big interruption.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. But as I said, the interruption of this deck is not as crazy as the combo version. But what this deck has that the combo version doesn't is the comeback potential, because you basically end your turn with 5 cards in your hand, and you can stack your graveyard, stack the top of your deck as much as you want the next turn. That's the thought process of this deck. And then I play rank 4s, Gallant Granite, self-explanatory, Abyss Dweller. I gotta remember that all the crystals are level 4, so actually rank 4s come up a lot more often than you think. And because you don't play a combo version, there's a lot of free space. So yeah, I even play Tornado Dragon against Eldritch, so I can don't get Conquistadored.
Okay, yeah.
And I even play Zeus because people don't expect it.
Right.
So I could it comes up so often, you have no idea. For example, I would just make a Granite, search a card, enter battle phase, and they attack, and they're this, okay, whatever, that's fine.
Okay,
it's just a Granite. No one plays Zeus. Main phase 2, blow up your field. People don't see it coming, and that's kind of why I play it.
That's true. Even when you summon Granite against me,
play it.
Damn, even when you summoned Granite against me when it was still left on the field, I didn't think about it at all.
Exactly. Of course, I left it against you because I felt like I wanted to search next turn, and I felt that you wouldn't have a way to get rid of it. But yeah, exactly. The point is they don't see it coming, and that's exactly why it's good. Yeah. Because then they don't focus on stopping the attack, and then when it summons too late, unless they have a judgment or something, but whatever. And then I play Lynx, Fiber. Self-explanatory. I don't make it that often because without Link Cross, you actually do need another level 4 to actually get value out of him. But when I do, then it's nice to have the Satellite Warrior play already. But also most of the time when I make him is to actually just link climb into Unicorn and access code for the OTK.
Yeah.
And I also play Almirage as the last card. Not because I play Parallax Seed, but because it's for those awkward hands when you open Dragite and a Science, and then you can just go, where's Science? Yeah, you just go Dragite into Almirage, revive Dragite, stack a Researcher or Seeker, and then use Dragite to draw it, and then special summon, and then you already have 3 monsters in the field.
Yeah, okay, and it's a fire, of course, for Leonites, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that was the extra deck. And finally, to the least spicy part of the deck, which is actually side deck. There's actually not much to explain. 3 Nibiru's because combo is still a thing. Three Lancias, self-explanatory.
So good.
These should be Gameciels, but whatever. These are the kaijus I had.
You would go for Gameciel over Gadarna, the Wind Kaiju?
Because of the wind statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could have considered it. I didn't actually think the barrier statue would be a big deal this weekend because I basically didn't know of the bird up deck until until after the event. But you're right that Ghidorah could be a better option against what you call it.
The bird up stuff. The
Yeah,
barrier statue.
yeah, exactly. Also, those few Dino players who decide to play Simorg.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, also, I don't actually think I would play Ghidorah for two reasons. This deck does play a lot of like leaders in the sense that can just attack over the thingy. And then you can just do your thing in Memphis too. Unless they have Link Karibo, because that kind of sucks, but at least Dinos don't have that. But also, Ghidorah is pretty big, and you usually make, like, for example, Leonite, which is 24, and you can't really attack over it, but you can attack over Gameciel.
Yeah, okay, that's fair, yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I felt like, whatever, I'm not going to spend money on two, like, specific kaijus when these do the job just fine, I felt.
Okay.
So, that's what I thought. Be like, well, speak of spending money,
I don't want to spend money. Here's three Lightning Storm Droplet.
Yeah.
Greatest follow.
Spending money on the important stuff,
That's fair. Fair.
Yeah, I feel like these are pretty self-explanatory as well. And the last card is Red Reboot. Because, can't get enough Trap Hate. And, well, I guess that's all, folks.
All right. Well, that seemed like great. Thank you. Do you still want to say something before we go to the shoutouts? Something about tournament report or something?
I feel like I tried justifying my choices in this deck. Are there anything you have questions about?
No. That's pretty much. I think everything was answered by you pretty well. It's a pretty in-depth explanation. So then we'll go to the shoutouts.
Thank you.
Do you have any shoutouts?
Where do I start? Hell yeah! I just gotta figure out where to start. Of course, shout out to Netherlands' most competitive and strongest local, Groningen's De Purper en Draak. Flexing my Dutch there, and all the boys within it. Thank you for all the 5-man locals we had. I do want to also give shout out to Erwin Dijkstra for getting top 8 at the main event. Dino's best deck.
Deck profile on the channel.
Let's see, who else? Yeah, exactly. You can check it out. Also, shout out to Breo Klooster for actually thinking that Prankies Adamancipators was somehow a better choice than Control. That's on him. And yeah, I think that's more or less it.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again for giving this deck profile here on the channel and showing people or explaining to people somewhat more of the unorthodox choices that you made with this Adamancipator deck. And I would love to see you more on the channel, man. If you do well, definitely hope to see more of you.
I'll try to improve my Wi-Fi until then.
That will be a great help. Well, congrats, man, on your top. You did great. You can definitely be proud of it still. Unfortunate for the main event.
You too, man.
Thanks. And then we'll see you another time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Doei.